One day, completely out of the blue, or so I thought, I received this private Facebook message. Hello, Brandon. I doubt if you even remember me, but I briefly lived with my sister in Bountiful. I went to your church one day. My name is Sam. I have looked for you for years. I was impressed with you. You were such an inspiration to me. I named my firstborn son after you. Thank you so very much, Sam. In life, you either push forward or roll backwards. It's nice, simple. You could even say a hypothetical statement. How it moved for me from hypothetical to a statement of truth is embedded in that unexpected letter I just read to you a moment ago. One Sunday, I was sitting in church, waiting for the service to begin, when I had a feeling that I should turn around and look towards the back of the chapel. I did. And when I looked towards the back of the chapel, I saw somebody who stuck out to me. He was all alone. He wasn't in any church clothes. He was just wearing a short sleeve buttoned up shirt. He didn't look normal at all. His head was down. He had a hardened countenance that exposed a rough life. His expression was one that I recognized. How many times have I myself worn that? I could relate to feeling alone and neglected among the crowds of normal. And I knew what I had to do. I pushed over to him. Not knowing what to say, I stuck out my hand with fingers that do not move, and I silently prayed that he was shaken. He did. And I said, "Hello, brother. It's so good to see you today. I want to let you know how grateful I am that you're here and how much the Lord loves you. My name is Brandon, and I know that by trusting in the Lord and following his teachings, he will help you overcome your challenges and give you everlasting peace and happiness, as he has with my trials." That's a mouthful to say to a stranger, right? But it's what I felt prompted to say. He thanked me for my kindness. Just as the organ began to play, signaling that the service was about to begin, I looked where my family was at, and I rolled over to go sit with them. When the service was over, I turned around and looked back, but he was gone. And I never saw or heard from him again. Then 6 long years later, I get this private message from him on Facebook telling me he had named his son after me. What do you say to somebody you knew for 10 seconds who then named his son after you? I'm thinking, like, oh, I've got to have something witty to say. What am I going to say? And here's my reply. He must be a good-looking kid. I said, I'm truly honored, and I hope to live my life worthy of such esteem. He responded, thank you. I'm so grateful for the kindness that you showed me and for helping me when I needed it the most. I was struggling with PTSD and dealing with the burden of survivor's guilt and alcoholism. I was planning to end my life, but you saved it. On that day, you talked to me in the chapel. You made me feel welcome, something that I was looking for and needed. I felt God's love from you, from your kind words. I would have never known the joys of life if you had not spoken them. Sam. A simple hello and welcome had altered everything for a man I knew nothing about. What's interesting is that a week prior to this very brief encounter in church, I was in bed and I was crying. I was praying to my Heavenly Father, and I prayed to him and I said, Father, I promise that I will never ignore those who feel forgotten and neglected, because I hate the way it makes me feel. I had learned firsthand that the sharpest cut we can give to those who so desperately want to be loved and acknowledged is to ignore them. I broke my neck at the age of 18. And afterwards, I noticed immediately that I didn't fit into society like I used to, and it killed me. Feeling like there was no place for someone like me, disabled, in an able-bodied world. I didn't know my place or even know if I had a place anymore for me. But then it hit me that were it not for the challenges that I've had and the understanding that came with them, I would not have had the empathy and compassion to understand and notice what feeling neglected looks like and feels like how it felt with Sam. That's the beauty of our challenges, is even the most acute and painful challenges in life can produce life-changing opportunities for us to grow closer to God and to connect with those around us. I've had my fair share of challenges. Buckle up. I'm going to tell you about them. When I was 12, I suffered a traumatic brain injury, which took me 5 long years of work in order for me to speak fluently again. I completely forgot how to do my spelling and math, which, by the way, is still a struggle for me. When I was 18, I broke my neck in a freak diving accident running down a sandhill at Lake Powell, leaving me paralyzed from the neck on down, and a quadriplegic for life. At the age of 29, I basically froze to death in a freak ATV accident. I was found lifeless with an internal body temperature of 73 degrees. I was miraculously brought back to life. Oh no, it doesn't stop there. At the age of 34, I was involved in a high-speed collision on a highway, which required extensive facial reconstruction. They did a pretty good job, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. My poor parents. And you're right. I mean, what's next, right? Through all of these life-changing experiences, my parents have loved me. Not just taking care of me, but they've helped me find the positives in life that come from these challenges. Don't get me wrong, sitting down does have some positives. It saves money on shoes. I literally have shoes in my closet that are 14 years old, and it looks like I just bought them. How many of you guys have been to Disneyland? In a wheelchair. Much better experience, trust me. I get a butt in front of the long lines, as I'm passing them by, and I get to go on rides twice, which is great. What's interesting is right after I broke my neck, my family took me to Disneyland. I wonder why. It was so soon after my accident that I had my neck brace on. And the doctor said, you can only go on the most exhilarating ride out of the whole theme park. And you know what that was? It was a small world. Trust me, after 2 times of that ride, it was terrifying. All right. Another positive is that I get VIP parking, which is nice. My net worth has actually increased with every accident, believe it or not, because I've had expensive titanium inserted inside my body. I am a shopping cart on wheels. When I go shopping with my friends and family, I've got 2 handlebars behind me with available lap space for groceries. Seriously though, life is not always beautiful. for me or for you. But the outcomes can be. On my first day of college, I looked up at the building that housed my classes, and I saw something that made me shake my head in disgust. A long, steep, wheelchair-accessible ramp leading to the front doors. With the backpack filled with school books attached to the back of my chair, weighing me down, I knew there was no way that I could wheel myself up the ramp. I looked at my watch, and then at the entrance to the doors 30 yards away, and I saw people walking quickly back and forth, up and down the stairs, all of them oblivious to my predicament. They had legs that worked, mine did not. At first, I felt angry, but then said a quiet and brief prayer because class was soon to start, and I asked for patience and help. After a moment, the Spirit whispered to me, telling me that my purpose wasn't just about receiving an education, but also about giving one. Remember that simple statement of truth I shared with you at the beginning? In life, you either roll backwards or push forward. It became clear to me at the bottom of that wheelchair ramp what I needed to do. I had to push forward by allowing others to help me, which in return would help them. I had to swallow my pride and be willing to present myself as a constant service opportunity. It became very rewarding for me before every class to decide who my Sherpa would be to help me get up this mountain of a wheelchair ramp. Now, all right, I will admit, sometimes I picked a cute girl just so I could talk to her. But mostly it wasn't about me. I let the Spirit decide who it was that I would ask for help. And I never pushed alone. I hardly ever pushed at all during my 7 years of college. These good Sherpas pushed me, and in return, I pushed them by sharing the stories of my trials and how they increased my faith in God, and how that faith caused me to look outward and not retreat inward, and served as a reminder that even the severest of challenges can give us gifts of empathy. They can humble us. They can open up the way for us to gain broken hearts and contrite spirits. They can bring us closer to God. They can expand the capacity of our hearts to connect with, serve, and truly love others. There's a little boy out there who is named after me. Because of that small voice within, that small voice that speaks truth, said, Brandon, don't roll backwards or just stay put, but turn around and push forward. I hope I'll always be able to push forward in this life. And I hope and pray the same for you. Thank you.